President Donald Trump's new immigration policy will prevent judges from granting bond hearings to most detained migrants. The loss of those bond hearings could mean detainees will have to fight their deportation cases without legal representation or support from family members in their communities. How will this impact detainees going forward? Here's what we know now.
A lot of migrant rights advocates are saying that this policy change is essentially another step in the removal of due process for people who are living in this country illegally or people who are accused of living in this country illegally.
So what about this policy is different?
Essentially what it does is it limits the opportunities for people who are in immigration detention to request a bond hearing in front of a judge. People who get detained by ICE, they have a right now at least, to ask a judge to let them back out on bond into the community. And the idea is that these are folks who will come back for their immigration hearings as they try to prove they have a legal right to remain in the United States. The new policy basically says everyone stays locked up until they've had a whole court process dedicated to that.
Why did the president decide to stop granting bond hearings in the first place?
President Trump last year ran on a policy of very, very strict enforcement, and he promised to conduct the largest mass deportation in history. He's talking about 1 million people a year. And so in order to do that, you have to arrest people, you have to detain people. And frankly, the reality is if someone's in custody, it's far easier to deport them immediately than it is to go track them down again, get them to show up for a court appearance, et cetera, et cetera.
So what recourse do detained migrants have going forward?
Under the immigration court system, you are not entitled to a government-provided attorney the way you are in a criminal court system. So there are, a lot of questions about whether people are essentially being railroaded. There are legal challenges expected. Every migrant rights group that I talk to says we plan to sue over this and about 1,000 other things. And so the advocacy community has real concerns because you are essentially taking people that you more or less know might have been released, right? People with credible asylum claims, and they are disappearing into these detention centers and effectively never walking out again.